Michael and Casey Tice.
Hey y'all, I'm Michael.
And I'm Casey, and this is Tice Up Your Life.
So let's talk about how we got to starting a podcast. So this is the intro to Tice Up Your Life. So not too long ago, working on trying to find a room on a cruise for clients and just Googling stuff, going through YouTube, and kept seeing a lot of these different kind of podcast stuff. And then I remembered, oh yeah, my wife likes to watch podcasts and videos, and my son loves YouTube. And then my wife also tells me that I'm always working and I never have time to talk to her. So I was like, why don't we make a YouTube podcast? And she gets a full, however long we do this podcast, to talk to me. And then she can listen to it to go to sleep. So here we are.
Yeah, so we just wanted to start this platform to share travel experiences, different resorts, different destinations, travel hacks that we've learned from our own travel failures, and just get people excited about travel and wanting to book vacations, hopefully with us.
That's right. So most importantly, using a travel agent, like regardless if it's us or not. I mean, of course, we'd love to have you. Our services are free, and we'll tell you all about that stuff later. But no matter what, if you're going to book any travel, don't go to Expedia. Don't go to any of those other places, because guess what? They're travel agencies and you're doing all the work. So why not utilize a travel agent, and you get to talk to us, two awesome people, or any of our agents that work for us. So anyways, so that's kind of our lead into the lead in. But let's talk about how we got to here.
So yeah, we just want to catch you up to speed on how we ended up in this position today.
Yeah, and it's kind of a crazy rodeo story here. So,
and it's really coincided with our personal life of what we were going through in our personal, how we, in our marriage, and how we've grown our careers and our family throughout this time with all of our travel.
And if any of y'all are already friends with us, and hopefully you share this and like and subscribe, right? There's a subscribe button down there somewhere. But a lot of our people that we've met and friends, and y'all kind of followed our journey already and have a good idea, but you're going to get some more backstories. Plus, you're going to get to see the travel side of everything, because that's obviously what we're here to talk about, right? Our hacks and all the things we've done traveling with kids, right? That's kind of our big thing, because
that's what we do now.
Yeah, we'll lead into the kids and the stories and all those stuff. And future podcasts, we'll be talking about certain stories and events, and then we'll have some kind of theme, I'm sure. We're kind of winging this right now. So, but either way.
He wings everything. I am a planner. I've got a plan all the way to next year.
And yeah. So
anyway, here we go. So we met in 2012 and we married in 2013. And neither of us had any travel experience at that point. Besides, I had been to Disney one time in high school for a cheer competition.
And I was forcibly removed from the country twice.
With the Army. So, yeah.
So nobody counts Iraq and Afghanistan as a vacation. Right? You're like, oh, I landed in Germany and Ireland once. Cool. So no travel experience on our end. I mean, I grew up dirt poor.
So we started when we did start to travel, it was starting completely fresh on how to get your passport. And I mean, I when I went to get my passport, I took the wrong birth certificate. I took the birth certificate that had my baby feet on it. It was, they sent me away. It was a whole thing.
I mean, our idea to travel before we really started traveling was oh, let's go down to South Padre, right?
Or Six Flags.
Six Flags, yeah. SeaWorld.
So if you're brand new to travel, we would love to
introduce you to the world of travel. I mean, that's what we're here for. So, our first trip actually, well, we won't even get into that yet. Let's just start with, so you were going through college, right?
Yeah.
So she went through college and
to be a teacher. So as I was in college, we went on our first Carnival cruise in 2015. It went to Honduras, Belize, and
Cozumel.
Cozumel.
Yeah, we and I was
Carnival Freedom.
Yeah, it was Carnival Freedom. I was transitioning from the Army into my new job, or had already started my new job. I can't remember, but
You'd already started.
yeah, so I'd already started my new job and definitely needed a trip after that. But so that was interesting. I remember going on and booking the trip on the direct website, not knowing a thing about what was going on. Thankfully, somebody I worked with had done a lot of cruising and kind of gave us a few hints and tips on certain things, but didn't prepare us for like, hey, you're going to be eating dinner with some random strangers. We're like, oh, okay, cool. Which was great, by the way. We love them to death. We're still friends with them. But yeah, I mean, thankfully they gave us some tips that you're like, hey, you got to wear some dress up clothes sometimes and take some pictures, so you're not like showing up with flip flops and a t-shirt and everybody else is in a suit, you know. So things like that.
Anyway, so
she's trying to keep us on track. Okay,
you're rambling.
We've practiced one time and it took us like an hour and 30 minutes, so we're not trying to make this an hour and 30 minutes.
So anyway, that was our first experience with travel, and we weren't super sold on it yet.
Yeah, it was kind of long. I loved Honduras, so
yeah.
And Belize was cool. The monkey throwing poop at you was funny. Yeah, when you're on the horseback. I don't even know if you remember that.
I don't.
Yes.
But rambling. So then a few years later, I graduated college and I became a teacher. And that summer of 2017, we decided to go to Sandals Royal Bohemian.
Because I got some unscheduled days off in there. But anyway, so yeah, I got some unscheduled days off, and we decided to take a little trip to the Bahamas to decompress, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
And that ended up being our lemons to lemonade situation, because right after that trip, we became travel agents. And
yeah, so not to dive too much in that story, but we got there. It was awesome. Really, it was like
amazing. That made us fall in love with sandals, and that's like our standard now. That's what we love.
After that, we so while we were there, we ran into people and then became friends, and later on, we ended up working being asked to become travel agents. Mostly this one to be the travel agent. And if any of y'all know us already, know that I pretty much handle all of the bookings and the talking to people and the unless she has a beer in her hand, or not beer, margarita in her hand. Most of y'all know her from the margaritas, and so, but yeah, so she was supposed to be a travel agent because I was like, I got a real job, right? And
I also had a real job.
She did, but she was off on summer, so what's the point? But turned into us just kind of going and blowing and going, and I mean, our first booking, I was crazy, and of course, I went big and booked a high school Disney trip. So that'll come into play later. We'll talk about that. Yeah. So
then that December. 2017, we went to Mexico. All of our trips were centered around teacher breaks. So during winter break, we went to Mexico, and it was a lot of fun, but it was interesting. We didn't know that it was
an
LGBTQ plus
resort. So
yes,
this is again another reason why you're a travel agent, right? But that's why we go to learn. So it was a blast, though. I mean, it really did have fun.
But it was from going from a Sandals to
Mexico to that resort specifically.
It was a jump for us.
Yeah, literally, she kept saying, "This is not like Sandals." But anyway, so that was that, and we had a good time. We learned a little bit, kind of figured out how you get into Cancun and out of that, and then meanwhile, we had just started trying to have children. We were like, hey,
but like no pressure. We were just like, oh,
yeah. We pulled the goalie and we were like, hey, let's try to have some kids here.
And then summer of 2018, we went to Sandals Montego Bay. That's still
best resort ever.
Still my favorite Sandals ever.
If given the opportunity, we would go every year.
Yes, the people we met were amazing. All the staff in Jamaica is you just don't get better than Jamaican people. They're amazing. They're friendly. They're funny.
And Jamaica is 100% safe, regardless of what anybody tells you, as long as you do it right. So
yeah. And I was teaching, and so it was the summer, and I remember sitting on the beach with some of the event staff because we had just done like beach Olympics or something. On vacation, he and I, we don't relax. We like to play. So we're constantly, like, that trip specifically, we had just gotten scuba certified. So we would dive 2 times in the morning, come back just in time for pool volleyball. Then it'd be beach volleyball, then pool volleyball. And then there was always some kind of
Drinking games.
beach Olympics or pool Olympics or flip cup. There was always something. We were always in the middle of it because that's what we like to do.
And then we carried that on through the night until like wee hours of the morning. But
I was on the beach and I had just gotten an email that my star scores were ready. And so me and the event staff, they were all like around me, huddled around as I'm checking to see how my kids did on star. And that's just a fun memory.
Yeah. So, and we'll, again, as we go through these podcasts, we'll talk about certain things and go through them and kind of tell you what we learned, what we didn't like, what we did like. Some of these will be ranking our favorite places we've been, and we may have some worst places we've been, but so far we're doing pretty good. But so of course we're still trying to have children during this time frame, and then 2018 rolls around and Apple Leisure Group has
we're already in September of 2018.
Okay, sorry, September. So this kind of started my little tradition that I've kind of tried to carry on, but it was around my birthday, so I'm like, I'm going to Mexico, let's go. And I went by myself with the other agency that we worked for, and went down to this big summit that they have, and I got to do a lot of tours of hotels, learning more and more, and then did a lot of meetings and meeting all kinds of other travel agents, travel agency owners, head of hotels. I mean, it was great. And then of course they announced, it was also like the saddest thing ever because they announced that they were selling out to somewhere else, and so it was the last time they were doing that. But I learned a lot during that. It was very eye-opening. I think that really blew our business up from there.
I didn't get to go because I was teaching.
And I had a blast. And I did videotape her, like send her a thing of Joey Fatone. Don't forget about that. She loves them people.
In sync. And Joey Fatone was there performing, and he FaceTimed. No, you didn't send me. You FaceTimed me, and he yelled at me for not being there. And it was the best moment of my life until we had kids.
So you can't be mad at your husband going to get Joey Fatone to talk to you. So then we started fertility treatments, right?
Yes.
So it was
we started going to the doctor, and we did medicated cycles where they would. I took medication. Well, they had to like do all these tests to see like what was our issue. They couldn't find any reason why we weren't conceiving. So we did medicated cycles where the medication I took, it made multiple eggs mature, and then I'd go in and they would see how many follicles there were, and then they'd give me a trigger shot. The eggs would release, and we were just going to see if anything happened.
Yeah. So mind you, we got married in 2013, so it's been 5 years and we still hadn't had a kid. Of course, some of those years we weren't trying, but so now we're kind of really stressed, and we were trying hard at this point. And then we took off to Sandals, Grenada in 2019.
Yeah, in January. Yeah. It was winter break.
Yeah, winter break. We took off to Sandals, Grenada. By the way, that island is amazing. It smells like nutmeg as soon as you get off the plane, and it's like the smallest airport you've ever seen in your life. I don't know if they've made it bigger because we haven't been back in a couple of years, but like you get off on the runway and you walk in this little, like, I don't want to call it a shack, but a little small building, and like your luggage is coming through a little slot in the
they open it up. Yeah.
But it was a good time. We met a lot of you guys watching this probably met us on some of these places, or
every trip we've gone on, we've met the best people.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
I mean, we always want to get everybody back together to come hang out with us because it was just so much fun.
That was supposed to be the goal before I got pregnant.
And then, we get to watch them have kids, and they get to see us have kids. They know our struggle because Casey likes to get drunk and tell everything about it. So, and not in a bad way. We tell everybody our story is something unique, I think. And I mean, everybody thinks their story is unique, but ours is definitely interesting. So from there we go into.
From there we went to Disney, March of 2019 for spring break.
My first time going to Disney, and that was also that high school band that I booked.
Yeah.
So we worked, but we also learned a lot because
we had 2 other travel agents with us that taught, like, they are like the Disney gurus. They knew when to go to which ride. Like, we didn't wait in a single line. We watched every single show, some of the shows 2 times. We met every character we wanted to meet. We rode every ride we wanted to ride, sometimes 2 times, and I don't think we waited in a single line.
They were awesome, and one of them works for me now, just so you know. So we have some awesome Disney agents, and it's how things have fallen in place has just been amazing. Probably God, honestly. I mean, it's got to be God of how it's fallen in place. But we learned a lot of Disney, and I fell in love with Disney even as a adult with no children. I'm like, this is fun. Like,
yeah, he wants
I
to
was
go
like a
more
little
than I
kid.
do.
Yeah.
Like he
Every time she turns around, I'm booking a trip to Disney for us, and she's like,
And
"Really?
I
We're
wanna
going to
go.
Disney again?" I'm like, "Yeah."
I mean, I love Disney, but then I got to stress out because I'm the kind that like if there's a trip, I gotta have outfits, so I need to know.
Yeah. So then we did our first.
So during this whole time, we had been doing medicated cycles every single month, and nothing was working. So the doctor said, "Let's try an IUI."
No idea what that meant, but we're like, "Yeah, let's go for it."
So that actually our first IUI ended up working, and I was pregnant, and we were very excited.
And if any guys are watching this, just so you know, it's really weird doing this because you got to go into a basement of a hospital. It's really awkward. But anyways,
it's nothing like what I went through, so I have no sympathy. But anyway, that IUI worked, and I was pregnant, and unfortunately, 6 weeks later, I ended up miscarrying. So we did a few more IUIs after that because a lot of times they say once you miscarry, you're more fertile, and none of my IUIs were successful. So we took a break.
And naturally, and well, again, trying to keep that tradition of going somewhere on my birthday, I got an opportunity in October of 2019, right after my birthday, to go on a familiarization trip with sandals. And so Casey couldn't go because she was in school teaching. And I'm like, yeah, I'm on the way. So I took off to a couples resort by myself, which I was allowed to bring a spouse, but she couldn't come. So I took off to Sandals South Coast, had a heck of a time. I got to hang out with like the general manager a lot and get to know him.
Went on the rum tour.
Went on that rum tour. Oh my! And that's where I learned to eat shrimp the Jamaican way. They're awesome. They're spicy, but they're awesome. On part of the tour, like he stopped us in the middle of town or on the road, and some people selling stuff on the side of the road, and I ate all kinds of crazy stuff that I'm still trying to figure out what I ate because I loved it. But had a great time. I mean, I was there for a lot of the first openings of things that was new there, and became really good friends with the manager. Like, had a great time. Met some people from some news stuff, and we hung out, and they were there doing some articles on some stuff, so I got to learn about that. And one guy taught me how to take some photos, which I'm still not very good at. But so yeah, had fun there. And then I also, while I was there, I took the opportunity and I jumped on one of their little shuttles and took off to some other resorts and checked out Beaches Ochi and then Sandals Ochi. Yeah, I checked it. Oh yeah, sorry.
You went to Beaches Negril.
Beaches Negril and Sandals Negril. I went and checked those two places out. Which funny story, like I ran into another travel agent we knew there. So I took that opportunity to learn, learned a lot. And then, I come home and we go through, January
of
2020. We take off to Sandals Emerald Bay. And,
in Exuma.
So I've always been like the kind that's like, well, first off, it was beautiful, right? It really was.
Yeah. And we swam with the pigs.
That's where I was going. I've always been the kind of like, oh my God, I don't want to pay for excursions because there's so much to do with sandals. And I'm still really like leaning towards that. There's some certain excursions that we've done that I'm like, okay, you've got to go do this one. Yeah. Swimming with the pigs was like, I was like, I'm from Texas. Like, if I want to swim with pigs, I'll just go out to the land and chase some hogs into the water and jump in the tank with them, right? But I'm not going to give too many secrets away on that one. But I was thoroughly shocked. Like, some big group of couples were there that were a big group, and they like, come on with us, and I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And then
I was hesitant because I love sandals. I love just the atmosphere of the resort, and I didn't want to waste a day of being at Sandals. But it was amazing.
So yeah, we did Emerald Bay, had a great time there, and then
the irony on that trip, because we got there like the day after New Year's, and I had a headband that said "Best Year Ever" or whatever, and it was 2020, and we all know what happened then. So
Yeah.
not the best year ever.
So we go.
But we get back.
Yeah,
This
so
was January.
we get back. We're still sad because we hadn't been
And
able to have kids.
We were out we hit what would have been my due date.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later.
So hold on, before that.
Yeah.
Some personal friends and stuff, like a friend from a long time ago kind of came back into my life, which I've kept them at arm's length, and he reached out to me and he said, hey, I'm doing better. He's an alcoholic. I'm not gonna lie. He's an alcoholic. So he's like, I'm doing better. I need, I'm trying to get with my kids some more, blah, blah, blah. Kind of asked for help. And I said, great, I'll help you. But it's going to be hard. We're going to do this. So I started helping him. And then 2 weeks later, right, I've been helping him for about 2 weeks. It was a pain in the butt, really. But he got a letter saying he had to go to court. And I'm like, okay. Like, man, this is for CPS stuff. And I said, okay, well, that's not what I'm here for. So I'm here to help you stay sober, and you need to go handle whatever the CPS thing is with your ex-wife, and I'll see you when you get back, right? Because it's like 2 hours away. And he was struggling to figure out how he's going to get there. And I went home and I tossed and turned all night. I couldn't sleep. She kept asking me what was wrong, and I was supposed to be at work the next morning, and I'm like, I can't sleep. I feel like I've got to take him to court. And she wasn't a big fan of this guy anyways. I don't blame her. But I'm like, I just feel like I got to take him to court. I'm going to call it to work. I called him at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, hey, I will be there to pick you up. We'll take that 2 hour drive. Let's go. And so I did. And good thing I did. Let's just say that. So again, God works in mysterious ways. And so I take this guy, I call him kid, my friend, to court. And I just walk in. I see his ex-wife. I've known her for years too. And some random woman walks up to me and was like, who are you? I just told her. And of course, she's like, oh, so you know them? I was like, yeah. She's like, do you want a kid? Yeah. And like, that's a random question. She's like, well, we have an 18-month-old, one of their kids that's in foster care right now. And maybe we can try to figure out how to get him to come stay with you if you guys are okay with that. And I'm like, absolutely okay with that. Yeah. And so the mom heard this and went up to the judge out of nowhere and was like, hey, I want my kid to go stay with Michael and Casey Tice. And the judge looked at me and asked me what I did. And I told him. He's like, you want a kid? And I was like, yes, sir. He said, great. Banged the gavel. And mind you, it's just me at court. And Casey's in school, and I'm like trying to text her, like, hey, girl, what's going on? She's not answering. I'm like, well, so the judge bangs the gavel and says he'll be there tomorrow. So grabbed my friend pretty much by the neck, drug him out to the car, threw him in the car, and hauled butt home. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get a hold of her, like, hey, by the way, we got an 18-month-old come to live with us for the next God knows how long.
We were scrambling.
We were. Now, I will preface this with we already had. I'm not a planner on a lot of things, but if I see a good deal, I'm gonna jump on it. So I kind of like traded a workout machine that I had that I hated, and to a neighbor who was getting rid of his baby furniture, which ironically he was getting rid of twin baby furniture, and I only grabbed one. But so we already had a crib, changing table, all that stuff. We didn't have diapers, toys, anything unique. And of course, we also didn't know what you did with an 18-month-old. So
it was crazy.
Yeah, and my coworkers, her coworkers, our friends, family, like the outpouring of support when we said, hey, by the way, we're getting a kid tomorrow, guys, and people just showed up at our doorstep.
I took off the rest of the week.
I mean, they kind of knew the struggle and stuff that we're going. I took off the rest of the week, and so the next day. He showed up. He walked in.
So that was January. That was January 29th of 2020. Yeah. His name's Carson.
Yep.
So he came, and then we already had a Disney trip booked for spring break of 2020. And so we had to go through the judge and get approval from the parents to be able to take Carson with us.
And
so
CPS and oh my God.
It was a very different trip than what we planned because it was supposed to just be us, but now we have an 18-month-old with us. But it was amazing. Oh my gosh.
We had a great time.
Actually,
especially
the first time at Disney, that's the first time Carson ever called me mommy.
So we had a great time. And then ironically, everybody knows what happened in 2020. So any of y'all who follow anything about Disney knows that Disney never shuts down. Well, as we were leaving the park, they were kicking everybody out and they closed the park down completely, permanently. And we were getting on a flight the next day. So we checked out and they were kicking them out of the hotels. And we're like,
there were people on the plane in hazmat suits.
That was funny.
It was crazy.
So we came home. So we closed down Disney with COVID. Probably came home with COVID, but whatever.
No, I didn't have it.
So
and then so we have Carson. COVID's happening. As things start to loosen up a little, we decided we were going to start trying again with the help of fertility treatments. So we went to the doctor and we were going to do another IUI, and our doctor had retired while we took a break. And so we had a new doctor, and he was like, you don't need to do any more IUIs. You've had 5 failed ones. We need to do IVF. And it was something I never wanted to have.
By the way, she's at the doctor by herself because I'm not allowed to go because of the COVID rules. So
yes,
that was a fun phone call of, hey, we've got to decide if we're doing IVF or not.
So we went for it, and we started in September of 2020, and October of 2020 is when we did our egg retrieval and our transfer. And because of how expensive it was, we were like, let's go ahead and transfer 2. And
you get to pick 1 or 2, right? And we're like, well, let's just pick for 2. I mean, that's
2 for the price of 1. So then I was pregnant with twins, and Lainey and Lacey.
By the way, the entire time she was pregnant, I was terrified that these 2 eggs were going to multiply into multiples. So thank God that didn't happen. I was still worried all the way until they were born. But
anyway. December of 2020. So I'm now pregnant with twins. We went to Disney again.
We did
with Carson still.
And we brought Stacy, one of our travel agents, to somebody who knows Disney and her whole family. Oh my God! 1, it was awesome. 2, it was hilarious watching her puke every time she got off the bus.
Yeah, it was miserable.
I think I have some videos of that. We might show them one day.
I don't think you have videos of that.
I think I have at least 1. And then, so we had a great time at Disney again, despite her puking. We learned how to run it with a kid the right way and a big family. And
well, we also had to wear masks at that point, and the lines, you had to stand 6 feet apart in the lines, so it was just very different. Plus, I couldn't ride anything, and they didn't have fireworks or parades because we couldn't have large gatherings. So it was different, but it was still fun. And then, we didn't travel again because, again, I'm pregnant with twins. So June 2021, the girls are born, Lainey and Lacey. And Carson was still with us. He's now 3 at this point. And then...
So, because I'm crazy and I enjoy doing crazy things. And one of our things that I'm like, hey, yeah, we got twins and a 3-year-old. Why not? Let's go to Jamaica. Let's get these kids some passports. And so we have passport photos of our daughters when they're like 1 month old. So, and when they were 3 months old, we went to Beaches Ocho Rios. In Jamaica. And everybody at the one awesome place. We're going back again this year. But everybody knew Carson's name, literally the entire staff.
Mostly because we were yelling,
pretty much we were always yelling Carson, but
because he was always doing something.
And they loved him to death. And he still says "Yaman" and respect. And, he's pretty much Jamaican, so they loved him to death. They loved the twins. The girls were like this big, so there was not really much there. But anyway, so we got to do it all inclusive with kids and learn how beaches works and all the fun stuff, which we'll talk about in another episode. And then we rolled into
that was September. October, I was supposed to go back to work.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was gone for work like every other week for the whole week. And
sometimes 2 weeks.
At that time, CPS started trying to transition Carson back to his mom. And so that was really hard because he would come home and there would be lots of behaviors, and it was really weighing on me. And then having twin newborns that I was the only one that could do drop off, pickup, packing their bags, all the things. It just it felt impossible. Um, so I and to have the stress of teaching and all the extra responsibilities of teaching. Yeah.
And we had some other fortunate things happen when she was able to leave teaching.
Yeah, we started budget. I was having panic attacks the week that I went back. I was having panic attacks all day long, and I just was bawling. I'd get home from work and I'd just go in my closet and cry the whole night. And then I was like, I worked so hard to bring these girls into the world, and I'm not even spending time with them because I'm at work or I'm crying in my closet.
Yeah, so
we did some budgeting.
Yeah, postpartum depression kicked in hard there, plus all the stress we were under with everything going on with Carson and all that. And then
so we did some budgeting,
and by the way, daycare for 3 kids is expensive. If y'all don't know that, then just plan your kids accordingly, because they are freaking expensive when you get them into daycare.
Yeah.
So she was able to leave teaching. She stayed home with the kids.
And that was October. But then at the end of October, Carson ended up leaving.
Yeah. While I was gone, it sucked.
Yeah.
I was gone,
so we had a hard time with that too.
We actually made some crazy life decisions, and great, best thing we did. But somewhere in there before, a while ago, I had bought some land, so we were like, hey, we'd always talk about building a house out there. I wanted to, she didn't, but I was like, hey, let's just sell our house. Like, the marketing, it's great. Let's sell our house.
We sold our house. We sold our car.
We pretty much sold everything we owned. Got all the way out of debt, and we're like, let's build a house.
Yeah.
And then I did try to convince her to just let me retire and run off to Jamaica, and we can just raise all our kids over there. But she said no.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we sold everything, and so we sold everything. We moved to a whole different place. We didn't want to be in that house with all the memories that we were sad about, and at the same time, we made some good financial decisions, and we were like, great, we can do this. So we're in the process of trying to build a house. So going through that entire process.
So March of 2022, we
go on a cruise together.
We went on a cruise. We were like, we need to it was just him and I. We just needed a break. We needed to just be together and decompress.
It was our first Royal Caribbean cruise. The first one we did before it was Carnival.
During the cruise, we hadn't really talked much about Carson since he had left. We were so heartbroken. And during that cruise, as we were meeting people and talking with people, that is the most I talked about Carson in a long time. And I remember when I laid my head down to sleep at night on that cruise, I would just cry thinking about Carson. And right after the cruise, literally right after the cruise, we found out Carson was back in.
I was actually gone again because I was down south again, and I got a phone call from some friends who have some other kids of the same family, and they're like, "Your son's at my house right now," and I said, "What?" And they said, "Yeah, nobody's told you." And I was like,
"Well, because we were so heartbroken by the whole thing, we had become." After Carson came to us, we got licensed to be a foster home. And after he left, we didn't do our trainings to keep it current. We were so heartbroken. We were like,
we never planned on being a foster home anyway. So it was, like I said, it was God that got us there. And then we did everything we were supposed to do. And then we were so heartbroken, why would we do all this and have this heart pain? This is just awful. So we let it go. And then that wouldn't necessarily, there's some other factors in there, and if you ever meet us, we'll tell you the whole story.
The reason he didn't come back to us immediately is because we were no longer a licensed foster home.
And that was one reason, yeah.
So we had to talk to his mom about hey.
Well, I made some phone calls to some people and did a lot of crazy stuff that I would have probably never done before. But he was back at our house within 24 hours. As soon as I found out he was where he was at, I made a phone call and I left work and came home and pretty much gave them a directive of he better be at my house in less than 24 hours. And I drove all the way home and then turned around the next day and we drove all the way over there to get him. And we picked him up and brought him home with the intent he was staying forever. like that was already known. And
but we lived in limbo for a long time before
to kind of give you a little, side thing for Carson is when he got picked up, he said, "Can I go home to Michael and Casey's house now?"
Yeah, he said, "Take me to Michael and Casey's."
Yeah, that was his first thing he said when he got in there. So, anyway, so Carson's home, and there was a lot of work that needed to be done there. Still working through a lot of it. It's been years now.
He was extremely traumatized by
going back and forth and a bunch of other stuff. So again, those are stories for a later date. But so Carson comes home, but mind you, we had sold our car. We bought a Jeep. So we're like, okay, well, you know what?
We knew he was back for good. So we were like, okay, our family's complete.
Yeah, family's done. We're complete.
And it still was
so
at that time.
We had a Jeep that we just bought. And then what did we do? We went
on a cruise in May of 2022 with your whole family.
Yeah, we went on a cruise with all them.
And then June of 2022, we went to Disney with my mom and stepdad and your grandma.
Yeah.
And then August of 2022, me and my best friend went on a cruise. And right after the cruise...
So she comes home from this cruise, right? And mind you, we're still in this process of trying to build a house. So we've already paid for house plans. We've got all this stuff going and things are starting to mess up. And we're about to take out this loan to do all this stuff. And so we're in this like loan process. So you're not supposed to do anything. And she walks out of the bedroom and says, "I'm pregnant." Of course, my response was, "By who?" Which was probably not the best response that she was looking for. But mind you, we hadn't been able to have children. We paid a lot of money to have children. So I'm like, "What the heck? How are you pregnant? And you just went drinking for a week?" Like what? So, we're like, okay. Now, before she went and took the test, she was like, "I was so sick on this cruise."
No, I took so many naps, and I never nap on vacation. I am the life of the party. And so I got back from the cruise, and I was like, I feel like I should take a test.
Yeah, didn't tell me. She just went in there and took one and came out like, "I'm pregnant." I'm like, oh, God. So, of course, naturally, my first instinct is, let me call my loan officer. So I'm like, "I got to buy a car." And she's like, "What?" I was like, "No, like, I have to buy a car tomorrow. I got to have one now because naturally, because I can't wait." But two, so it's like 9:30 at night. I'm sure my loan officer regrets giving me her cell phone number. But so she was the first person to know that Casey was pregnant. And so it was me and then the loan officer. So that was great. She kind of worked for me. So we went and sold the Jeep and bought another car. And so
it was crazy.
I went through a period there. I ended up buying like 3 cars in a very short period of time. But so she's pregnant. She's now at home with our 3 children, and I go on a cruise with my best friend, birthday cruise. So September. So again, keeping that tradition going. And then so we have the guys' booze cruise. So that was fun. Come back
October of 2022.
We
found our forever home. Right now.
Yeah. So we were in the process of the whole stuff with the house fell through, and there was so much things. So I told her like, "Hey, let's go find another intermediate home for us to buy for now, and then I said, "But if you find your dream home, we will buy it, and we'll sell our land." So naturally, all she heard was, "Go find the house you want forever, so you don't have to live out the country." So we had some concessions in there, and she found her dream home that's still in the country. So we ended up buying that, and then still haven't sold our land, so that's good. But it will be for sale. Somebody's looking
right after we moved, we moved. We lived here for 5 days, and then we went on a cruise.
We hadn't even unpacked hardly. So we went on a DPSOA cruise, is what it's called, and I was the travel agent for that, so that was good. And by the way, we have one coming up. I will play a information on it at the end. I'm not gonna do it now. And then so please watch it. It's open to everybody, not just DPSOA members, and it's family friends. It's got some great deals. I've checked them today. They're still the best deals out there. So anyway, so we did that cruise. We came back, and then I went on another cruise. So the new ship had come into port here in Galveston, and
for Royal Caribbean.
For Royal Caribbean, they built the new terminal, and so they brought in a bunch of agents, and I was able to go on that, and took my other best friend, and him and I got on there and hung out with that country singer, Kelsey Ballerini. We had a great time. Learned a lot about this cruise, and since then, that guy still hasn't cruised with me because we drank way too much on both of those cruises. but we have another one
We
coming
went
up.
to
Don't
Mexico.
worry.
And then March of 2023, Carson was officially adopted.
So
and then
Carson Tice, that's right.
And then right after he was adopted, Stetson was born.
True.
So both of our sons joined our family officially in March of 2023.
Yeah, and Carson got to pick his name, by the way. So he picked Carson Michael Tice. So I was very proud of that and happy. And then so Stetson Michael Tice was born. So now we've got 4 kids. 4 kids. Under
at that time
they were under 4, really. Under 3.
Yeah, at that time
3 and under.
No. At that time Carson was 4. The girls were 21 months and Stetson was a newborn.
So would naturally, what do? I say, Casey and I need a break. So we farmed our kids out to her parents and one of my best friends, and we took off to Sandals Royal Bohemian, where it all started. So that was this past summer. We went back to Royal Bohemian, and that manager that I met at South Coast was there. So I got to see him a little bit. Casey and I had a good time. Met some awesome people again, and then
October of 2023, we went to Disney. Stetson got to go to Disney for the first time at 6 months old. That was our first time going in October, which we loved.
Yeah.
And we went to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. And then
so naturally we couldn't let this 6-month-old not have a vacation when he's part of
we felt bad.
Mini travel agent over here.
Yeah, we're like, the girls got to go on so many vacations before they were even 1.
Yeah.
So then March of 2024, we just went to Mexico.
So Stetson got his first stamp in his passport, and we haven't changed Carson's passport yet because why waste that money? But we'll talk all about that later on how to get passports and things like that and what's important. So yeah, we had a blast. We took one of our best friends and his family to Mexico with us, and it was a great time. It really was. Again, another learning trip. Everything we do, we go to learn. You're always learning. So picked up a lot of good things. I picked that resort specifically because I've got a couple groups that I've sent there, and I personally hadn't stepped foot on the property. I think I did a tour of one of the properties a while ago, but so I was able to step foot, and then we kind of snuck around and toured the resorts and did some stuff like that. And then we flew. So this is it's like 5 or 6 flights we've had with children. So one of our travel hacks episodes is going to talk about flying with children, because Casey gets that asked a lot, like, how do you fly with kids? Like, we flew with 4 kids. So well, wouldn't call us experts, but we managed to get there without very minimal interruptions or problems. A lot of that has to do with her planning. But so we went to Mexico, and then
now we're present day, and we've got a lot of trips booked coming up.
So before we dig into all those real quick, so now you know why we started with the tying our family into our travel, because a lot of those struggles and a lot of those things that we dealt with led us to being travel agents, which we had never in our right mind dreamed of. And
a lot of times, like, when we were trying to have kids, we enjoyed being just us. We enjoyed our time as just a married couple, but there was a lot of sadness there every single month trying to have kids. So vacation was that was what we needed.
So getting away from work to go on a vacation is good. Decompress. Spending time with your spouse is very good. And then spending time with your children. We were like, oh, we love this too. Now we're to the point where, like, not only do we love spending vacations with our children, which seems to be a little more work than, you get to relax them, but it's still a little work. But we've also seen the importance of spending time together and without our children. And a lot of couples and parents, you realize those struggles, those strain that children put on your marriage because you don't get to spend time, and you kind of let
we had such a struggle to have kids, and then we went from 0 to 4 in 3 years.
Which is a great riddle if you try to tell anybody that, because they're like, oh, you got triplets? Like, no, we don't.
The twins.
Yeah, no. So you got all that, and then so that kind of ties all this together, right? Of how we got to here, and that's what this intro video, we really wanted to make sure that hopefully we gain some piques your interest, I guess is the best way to say it. Because we're going to have a lot of good information plus experiences that you're going to be able to hopefully learn some things. And then if not, you just follow our crazy stories, because trust me, we have some crazy stories. And then, I mean, talking from, apparently I have some off-limit things I can't say, but we've had some good times drinking with some people from like Russia all the way until 5 a.m, and then I turned around and got on a flight, and that sucked. But it was a great time. Flying while intoxicated was not cool. To sleeping under a bridge with homeless people with my best friend, that was fun.
That has nothing to do with it.
It's still a travel trip, but so
I don't want to do any.
We have some crazy.
You and your best friend did.
Yeah, we have some crazy stories. So and of course now all that, I mean, you could probably count out how many trips those are, but we've got upcoming. So our next podcast is probably going to be while we're in beaches, Turks and Caicos. There might be one before that. So that's at the end of this month, end of April, beginning of May. So we were invited to a global travel advisor event. So there's a lot of special deals coming off of that. So while we're there, it's a working trip. I want to make sure everybody knows it's a working trip. So we are there creating content and making bookings. So if you've ever thought or wanted to go to a beaches or a sandals, please reach out to us now. Well, you don't have to reach us now. Reach out to us while we're there if you want. Because we have
do it.
Yeah, we have a.
Don't be like, oh, they're enjoying their vacation, I don't want to bother them. Like, no.
That's what we're there for.
Please do.
Yeah, and I will tell you, $400 is what you need, right? So $400 is $98 hold. 2 or 3 weeks later, they take $302 out, and that's your hold for your resort. So, and it's refundable. So start making some bookings and start thinking about planning ahead and paying for your trips ahead of time, because they could be expensive, but if you spread them out over a year or two, why would you not go experience something awesome? So anyway, so we're going there for that. And next month, and we come home, and then like a week or two later, me and one of my travel agents are going to head down to Galveston, and there's 2 ship inspections. So we're going to go get a lot of good footage and
trainings. He's going to go get on the boat and get to tour and
take pictures and show video footage of what these ships look like and things like that. And then of course I've got some trainings and stuff we're going to do there. So we're always learning. We have all kinds of resources. That's one of the things about travel agents is you get to call me. And if you're using something else, like maybe Royal or Carnival directly.
And if you have a question that goes beyond him, he has people to call.
Yeah. If you have a problem, you get to call me, and I'm like, I got this. Trust me. And we'll have lots of client testimonies. We'll bring people on to tell you how, I've stayed up till wee hours of the morning handling situations, or I just solved one today that we've been going on for 2 or 3 months.
But
anyway, so we go on to
in June. We're going back to Beaches Ocho Rios, that's going to be fun because Carson was 3 when we went, and the girls will be 3 this time, and it's going to be during Carson's birthday, so he's turning 6 on this trip, and we're bringing another family with us. Yeah,
another family, and then I've got clients there at the same time, so they're excited to meet us and hang out with us. They're new clients, and we're thrilled to be able to hang out and drink some beers and let our kids play together.
And then in October, we're going back to Disney. And then right after we get back from
literally
Disney,
the day we come home, the next day I help Casey kind of settle things down for a minute, and then I jump back on a plane and go to Mexico. And kind of like that event that I said that I went to a long time ago, where it was like the last event. So I'll start them up again, and I'm going down to go tour a bunch of resorts and look at do a bunch of trainings and a bunch of meeting higher ups and stuff. That is why you use travel agents. So a lot of suppliers, a lot of hotel presidents. I mean, you name it, they're all there. Same thing when we go to Turks and Caicos. So we're going to be meeting higher ups of Sandals. We're going to be meeting higher ups of the Turks and Caicos Board of Tourism and stuff like that. So so I go down to Mexico, and then
in December we're going on our very first Disney cruise.
We skipped.
We did not skip
Disney in October.
I already said that.
Sorry. We got Disney in October again.
December, we're going on our very first Disney cruise.
Yeah.
In December and January, and I think a little November. Disney cruises out of Galveston, so we're taking our kids on Disney cruise.
Yeah, something
And
we've been pushing off because we keep end up going to Disney instead. So we're gonna go jump on a Disney cruise.
And then next year we have 2 cruises. One's with Carnival in June and one's with Royal Caribbean in July. They're both group cruises, so we have some special rates that if anyone wants to join, they can jump on the boat with us.
Yeah, so we'll I don't have an advertisement really for the June one, but just reach out to us, and any of your special bookings that you have, like say you've gone on a cruise before and you have some special rates, or you go to the casino, and we'll explain why that's important later. But if you have casino rates, things like that, we can use all those. So definitely reach out to us. Any travel you think about. The only thing I'll say that we don't really do is flights only, right? There's a reason behind it, and I'll tell all y'all that why later. But I'm here to make sure that you get the best deal for your money, and you're not paying me to do it. So if it ever turns into where you have to pay me to do it, it's either be a massive group and it has to be done that way, or you're just too lazy to do it yourself, honestly, and that's fine with me. So I will say, hey, I don't do this because it's going to add a commission in there, and you can get it cheaper doing it this way. That's what I'm here for. That's fine with me. I will tell you that all day long, because when you're ready for something that has a commission built into it, I want you to come to me. And that's kind of how we run our company, and we're here to make sure you get the best deal for your most bang for your buck, and we want our services to stay free as much as they can. So yeah, we got those 2 cruises, and then there might be another trip slid in there in July. We'll see. I've got one in the works, but
that's for this year, I thought.
Yeah, that's for this year. So I haven't even started planning the rest of our trips for next year. I'm sure we'll go to another Sandals or beaches or something. At the bare minimum, we got spring break trips. We got to revolve around kids' schoolings now, because 3 of our kids will be in school finally. And so yeah, we'll work through those. So we'll have some other stuff there. But I think to wrap it all up, I just want you guys to know that I'm excited about this. Casey's been nervous about how we're going to say things and what we're going to say, and mostly because I have no filter here. So
yeah.
But, so I
if
know
you're still watching, here's this promotion.
Yeah. So if you're still watching, I would love for y'all to watch these promotionals. Thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
We hope we can tice up your life.
Get ready to embark on the journey of a lifetime with Tice Up Your Life Vacations. Join us on a spectacular group cruise departing on July 31st, 2025. 5 days aboard the luxurious Mariner of the Seas. Experience ultimate comfort and relaxation with our specially curated accommodations. Treat yourself and your loved one to breathtaking ocean views from your very own private balcony. All the luxury you deserve awaits. Immerse yourself in the beauty of the sea with our ocean view rooms, offering stunning vistas to wake up to every morning. Looking for a cozy retreat after a day of exploration? Our interior rooms provided the perfect safe haven for relaxation. But that's not all. Our group cruise promise endless entertainment, delectable dining experiences, and exciting activities for guests of all ages. Whether you're seeking adventure or relaxation, there's something for everyone aboard the Mariner of the Seas. Don't miss out this incredible opportunity to create unforgettable memories with Tice Up Your Life Vacations. Book your spot today and prepare to set sail into paradise. Contact us now to reserve your preferred room before they're gone. You can also use any special rates that you've earned from previous cruises and casino rates. Bon voyage.
Dive into paradise with Sandals Resorts. Are you a DIY traveler who loves planning your own adventures? Look no further than ticeupyourlifesandals.com for your next unforgettable vacation. With our easy-to-use platform, you can research and book your dream getaway at Sandals Resorts while supporting Tice Up Your Life Vacations. By booking through ticeupyourlifesandals.com, you're not only gaining access to exclusive deals and promotions, but also give credit to Tice Up Your Life Vacations for providing you this valuable resource. It's a win-win. Why Sandals Resorts? Luxurious accommodations, gourmet dining experiences, unlimited premium drinks, exciting land and water activities, stunning beaches and pools, world-class service and hospitality. Whether you're planning a romantic escape, an adult family vacation, or a group getaway, Sandals Resorts has something for everyone. But wait, there's more. If you ever decide you need assistance or want to enhance your vacation experience with the expertise of Tice Up Your Life Vacations, simply inform us after booking your room through ticeupyourlifesandals.com. We'll be delighted to assist you every step of the way. Don't wait any longer to turn your vacation dreams into reality. Visit ticeupyourlifesandals.com now and start planning your perfect sandals vacation today. Again, that's TICE upyourlifesandals.com.